Wonderful listeners of Living Radio 90.9. Living Radio, I'm sure you enjoyed our program yesterday, Issues of the Moment. And today is Nigeria Today. In Nigeria Today, we are not going to bug you with a lot of topics. We just have about one topic we're going to look at today. Remember what you listen to in our radio, you can also watch in our television. That is why we are different. I remain your anchorman, Chinedum Godson Adele. Again, today we are looking at the Nigerian refinery in Port Harcourt, precisely in Eleme, Rivers State. And since the removal of the oil subsidy, there have been so many agitations concerning the whereabouts of this money. So many commentators have also suggested that this money should be used to ensure that our refineries are working. And so many other persons are saying that. And a lot of Nigerians also believe that because our oils are exported, refined, and imported back here, and yet we pay that huge amount of money for the purchase of PMS and so on. And that is why it is important to give you an update of what is happening in Nigerian refinery, especially the one in Port Harcourt, Eleme. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPC, has maintained that the Port Harcourt Refinery Company, PHRC, will start operation this December, despite pessimism expressed by many Nigerians. But the managing director of the facility, Abraham Onoja, who gave an update on the ongoing work at the plant in a television broadcast, noted that the procurement process for the rehabilitation of the refiner is now 98% complete. And having said that, there is a saying in my place that a snake seen by one person has always been a python. I want to lead you to a television clip for you to see what is happening and what the refinery also looks like. It is not just about that. Also, the engineers who are on site will also give you more update concerning this, whether to believe that it will be coming up this December or whether we wait further. And then, what will be the economic impact of this? This is going to also form a major of our discussion on our program on Friday, Issues of the Moment. But before that, let's go to the refinery and see what is happening there.
The weather is 30 degrees Celsius at the Port Harcourt refinery in Eleme, Rivers State on this day. The heat is the least of concerns on the minds of the workers here. All hands and boots are on deck to achieve a common goal, getting the refinery back in operation. The facility, which comprises processing units, utility plants and tank farms, is undergoing a comprehensive rehabilitation involving a complete overhaul and change-out of major equipment. Looking at the metal work from the outside, it may not look like much has been accomplished. This is because the rehabilitation of the 53-year-old refinery goes beyond its static metallic frame, which is the first thing you see. The facility's instrumentation and control units, the brain of the refinery, is undergoing a complete overhaul. The rotating equipment, comprising pumps and compressors, have been upgraded and are all in place. Electrical systems, which include substations, transformers, cables, switch gears and panels, are all brand new, while static equipment like tanks, heater columns and drums are being refurbished.
We have refineries in the world that are over 100 years. The basic static equipment, which is just the metallic part you see, stays fundamentally the same. Upgrades happen over the years. Yes, the old Port Harcourt refinery was built in 1965, but as time went on, the instrumentations were upgraded, equipment were upgraded over years. So when we started this project, it was awarded in 2021, April to be precise. That plant then had undergone levels of upgrades. So instrumentation-wise, it has latest technologies too. For instance, the distributed control system, It is the latest we have in the market. So the refinery is coming back in very good quality to perform and compete optimally. Yes, the fact that it was built in 65 is, yes, it's true. But most of what is left of 65 is just the major static equipment and the metal frames. So for me, the refinery will come back in force and it will be very competitive.
About 3,000 workers play their part each day to get the work done. From piping, welding to fabrication, the relationship between man, machine and metal is constant. So far, the plant has recorded 8.3 million man-hours with zero lost time to injuries. The reason isn't far-fetched. HSE rules are always adhered to. By the colors, you can identify them. The blues are the engineers. The brown is for operations. The orange overalls represents the contractors. Out with the old and in with the new. The removal and replacement of piping work is a major task at the Port Harcourt refinery. For a refinery built in 1965, it's understandable. Over 75% of this task has been completed and accelerated as workers run day and night shifts. The plant has also recorded remarkable milestones against all odds.
Basic markers for a major project like this is deliveries of your long lead items. We have items here that we've installed in the plant that took 18 months to manufacture. Those items are now on ground. We have the boilers, we have pumps made by OEMs, Gabonetta, Arturia in Italy. They've come on site and we've installed them. So our long lead items are on site. Instrumentation are on site. We've completed most of the procurement we need to do. The procurement, we have gone over 98%. Most of them are now delivered and they are on site. Piping work we're doing, we have progressed extensively. For electrical, we have had most of our cable laying done. Many of our substations now have been energized. So when I say December is feasible, yes, because we have really progressed extensively. So that makes me very comfortable. For the construction, that is the part I'm finishing now. And that's the part for the old refinery. I'll have it ready by December 2023.
As promising as it sounds, the question on the minds of many is the cause of delay in delivery. The managing director of the Port Harcourt refinery reels out the facts behind the recess.
We had clear governance in place to award this project. However, when we came to the tendering process, remember 2020, COVID came upon us. And we worked throughout the COVID. We were interfacing with the OEMs, with the contractors, potential contractors then, bidders, throughout the COVID. And we ended up at award in early first quarter 2021. Remember, COVID was still with us then. That was when we awarded the project. This contributed to the initial mobilizations and placement of our long lead items. Now, here it was, a lot of the factories in the world were shut down. China was shut down, Europe was shut down, so there was a lot of force majeures by the OEMs because they couldn't produce them on time. That was one of the factors. This also added to the extended COVID shutdown in China. It took a while for China to open up. Also, the global supply chain was broken. We had so much problem sourcing our parts, even getting these parts now delivered. So that was the first one that was the issues that caused the delay. And as we're coming out of COVID, the Russia-Ukraine war now hit. The sanctions on Russia and the countries that were affiliated with them, and also getting these materials out became an issue. To even worsen it, the global manufacturers of arms also came into the market. Remember, this plant operates on very smart technology. Sadly, you may know that these smart technologies are what drive wars. So when the global arms manufacturers came in, they are the big boys. They took everything off the market. Components became a problem. We couldn't source, and the manufacturers also threw in further force majeures. Despite all these challenges, we're able to come back, put the project back on track, and we're now aimed at the end of the year to deliver the old refinery.
This explains the celebration of the arrival of two 120-ton per hour boilers manufactured in Italy, weighing 200,000 kilograms. It is used in generating steam used for atomizing fuel and various processes, including running equipment like turbines and fire preventions. The boiler is just one of many long lead items that suffered major delays in arrival. On completion of the rehabilitation, the refinery will produce petroleum products such as liquefied petroleum gas, premium motor spirit, dual-purpose kerosene, automotive gas oil, and low and high pore fuel oil. For the managing director of one of Nigeria's biggest and oldest refinery, the success goes beyond the operations that will begin in December 2023.
So the beauty about the rehabilitation going on in Port Harcourt Refinery is that we imported a lot of long lead items, and these equipment are going to serve us for generations to come.
Great Nigerians, I'm sure you enjoyed every bit of that refinery update, and also we also want to believe and trust the federal government that Ileme Port Harcourt Refinery is going to commence operations this December. Having said that, everybody wants Nigeria to be fixed overnight, like advanced countries. This also includes the civil servants who steals public funds. What about the security personnel who collect bribe at the detriment of national security? Are we talking about the teachers who organize special examination centers? And what about the parents who pay for exam malpractices for their children? There are too many things to mention and talk about here. If we are talking about Nigeria, how Nigeria will be better, how Nigeria will become a country of our dream, then the students who practice exam malpractice to pass exams, what about them? The lecturer who gives out grades for money or sex, they are all the same people who are asking for a better Nigeria. The citizens who shun queues and disobey traffic rules because of their positions either in government or somewhere else. What about the politicians who embezzle public funds? We know what has happened in Nigeria about the pensioners paid, about the pensioners fund and so on, how it was embezzled. What happened to that? Yet we are talking about a better Nigeria, and every accusing finger goes to the government, either the state or the federal. What about the boss who gives unmerited favor to the subordinates on the basis of religion, tribe, political, and other social affiliations? The good sellers who hoard goods to create deliberate scarcity. It happens in Nigeria, especially when it comes to the petroleum sector. What about judges and lawyers who make ways for criminals to escape facing the wrath of the law? They are all part of what we're talking about. The doctors who refer their patients to private facilities for their personal gains. How can you be a medical doctor, the doctor in charge of the government teaching hospital, and you have your own private clinic opposite that same hospital? Is that not sabotage to the government? And yet we are talking about a better government for all of us. What about engineers? What about engineers who construct below agreed standard facilities for personal gains? And then what about the youths who believe shady and fraudulent acts are ways of hustling? What about the common man who is waiting to be in any of the above mentioned situations and does the same? if not worse. It's like everybody is involved. The road safety officials who will collect money inside the vehicle particulars and allow motorists to carry overload. What about some governors and even the president will sponsor terrorists and use the country's money corruptly to buy arms in the name of fighting that same terrorist and terrorism? Custom officers who will clear imported goods and mount roadblocks to collect more money from the importers. The National Assembly will deliberately open over 1 billion naira to amend the constitution that they know they can't amend. What about politicians that will arm thugs to kill an opponent? The numbers are too much. A leader, president, or governor that will establish substandard hospitals and schools only to fly abroad for treatment and take their children to foreign schools. We've also often discussed in this platform, that I think there should be a law that will forbid any government official to travel abroad to take care of himself medically. It was in this country, I think last year, not even too far, that the outgone president of this country went to London or extended his stay in London because of toothache, when you have Agnes Wama and so many of them that can take care of that. We are talking about better Nigeria. What about the pastor that will gather church money, building mansions, buy private jet, make his children head pastors, and charge the poor members of the church to go and work hard? This, no one is excluded from this. The universities that have made law and medicine only courses for a particular class of people. The universities that have made law and medicine only courses for a particular class of people. Nigerian youths who have refused to learn any trade, craft, but are interested in becoming ritual killers for money, and then they nickname it Yahoo. It is important also to note that some parents today, as we speak, buy laptops and big phones for their children to start Yahoo. Yet we want Nigeria to be better. Herdsmen who have discovered that kidnapping and collecting ransom pays more than rearing cows. Head of security who will conspire with terrorists to ambush and kill his men and later collect money. A country where some part will witness 50 million votes during the election but cannot generate 100 million naira as a tax. That's what we're talking about. A country where you speak the truth, government will call it hate speech. We're talking about a country that produces oil and pays more money for buying what they naturally own. Imam, alpha, pastors who suddenly become spiritual priests for known criminals and spiritualists because of money. A country in which some parts ban the sale of alcohol, but share from the value-added tax money collected from the sale of alcohol in other parts of the country. And finally, a country where some individuals who patronize foreign-made cars, goods, etc., are always the first to criticize the government for purchasing foreign-made cars instead of local-made innocent or local-made goods. The list is endless if we continue this way. We want Nigeria to be better, and I know you equally want to see a Nigeria of your dream. I think some of us can remember, if we can have a retrospective review of this country, that many years back, Ghanaians were scattered all over Nigeria here, doing all sorts of odd jobs because they wanted to better their lives. But today, Nigerians are scattered in Ghana looking for greener pasture. What about South Africa? The apartheid period, what happened? But today, Nigerians are also looking for greener pastures in South Africa. How long shall we remain a developing country? My brother, all hands will be on deck to make this country a better place. What is your position? What are you doing in that office you are? How are you helping all this? How are you making sure that the law, are you a pastor? That thing you preach, are you practicing it? Are you a governor? Are you following the law of the land? How can a local government chairman and the governor be richer than the state and the local government they govern? While people are dying in their tens and units, you are busy sending money abroad and then serving them for generations unknown. This is time for us to call a spade a spade. This is time for us to come together and build Nigeria of our dream. Nigeria must surely be better, we believe that. We aren't going to run out of it. We must remain Nigerians. Some of us who are victims of corruption are crying out loud. You can change today. You can become a better Nigerian by doing that which is kept in your hand, making sure it is properly done. This is what we have for you. Having watched the extent the refinery in Eleme, Port Harcourt is going, I'm sure you saw what is happening. We want a better Nigeria. You can imagine so many persons are packed in their vehicles because they cannot afford 10 liters of fuel is 7,000 plus. Wow. Where do we go from here? He that walks alone is in front and behind. Well, this is coming from the stable of the Living Television and the Living Radio 90.9, and I remain your anchor man, Chinedum Godson Adele. Until we come your way again on Friday, we are going to highlight on most of these issues discussed today. Keep watching Living TV and keep listening to Living Radio 90.9. Bye for now.